Okay, so we're going to do two methods here, and I'm going to show you the first one using the ink pads. So we've got the yellow, we've got the orange, and we've got the black, and we've got the little chubby stencil brush. Now when you're doing your original design, it might be best to put a little bit of masking tape on to hold, but I'm not going to for this very quick demonstration. So we're going to get that stencil brush and we're going to brush it in there. I'm just going to move these out of the way for a sec. And then we're going to brush that in nice and firmly. Keep grabbing a bit more yellow on your stencil brush and brush round in circles with your brush. As I say, if you're not confident, put a little bit of masking tape. Don't leave your masking tape on for any length of time because it tends to tear the paper. So I'm just going to hold this in place. Oh, looks like I've got some paint on my stencil pad. Never mind. Okay, so just having a look at that through the camera. So I just want to put a little bit more around the middle, I think. Okay, I need to clean my brush then, and I'm going to be using a clean brush here. So with the orange then, we are going to put some depth into it. So the orange, which just does not want to behave itself, we're just going to rub a bit of orange in. Okay, if you want to get maximum orange, I can just lean over. You could even try a Q-tip, and then you can rub in. That gives you a bit more orange, so that's another method that you could try with it. Do try to keep your brushes clean. Wash them in hot soapy water because they will mix in with each other. Okay, and then we're changing the brush again, and then we're going to go into the black. So with the black, because it's very small holes, then we want to really brush that in. So we're using the stencil and we're pushing that in nice and hard. And what I want to do, give it another tap, is I just want to go a little bit around the outside just to give a bit of shadow. Gives it a bit more depth. So if we're not sure if we've missed any, we can just lift our stencil up, have a little look how our design's going, and that's looking pretty good. So that's with your ink pads. With these brushes and the paint, it is a pigment, so they do need to be washed well, especially with the black, because it will corrupt your other colours. And I'll show you, here's one I've done earlier. Sometimes corrupting the colours is quite nice, because you see the black is starting to rub into all of the ink. So I've done the yellow, but I've done some black backgrounds as well. So that's using the ink pads and your stencil brushes, and you can build up your design accordingly. If you don't want to use the dark background, you could use your stencils and just copy it and do 3 designs. And you've got another design you could use for your cards. We just move on. We've got a nice big blob of paint on that one. If we just move on then to the next design. So this time we're going to use paint. So I've got 3 colours here. I'm using the yellow ochre. I'm using the red, which I've already dipped into my ink pad. A little bit of red. And then a little bit of blue. So you've got a little pack of acrylic paints with you. So we're going to have a look at doing it with the painting method. And I'm going to be using these type of brushes, okay, in your set. I'm not using water with it. I'm going to dip that into my brush, but I'm just going to take off the excess. If you're using a pad, you could take off the excess at the side of your pad, and then with this one we're just going to stamp the design with little brush strokes. Pick up a little bit more paint, start from the middle, work your way out so that the design with your paints will be darker in the middle and going out like it does in nature. As it goes out, it's a little bit lighter on the outside. Quite therapeutic, this one, and quite nice. Okay, with the acrylics then, the difference is I'm not going to keep cleaning my brush. I'm going to take a wee bit of that red and get that back into the camera. I'm going to take a little bit of the red, just a teeny bit, and I'm going to mix it in with the ochre. Again, tap off some of the surplus, and then again, working from the middle, I'm just going to tap gently so that we've got a darker and a lighter shade. Don't need quite so much paint with this bit, so again, mixing in with that. Hoping you're seeing that nicely on the camera. Okay, just need to put a little bit more of the yellow on the edges, I think. Okay, just one or two there I've missed. Okay, and then we've got the blue here. So the blue, instead of using black, which is quite a hard colour, I'm just going to put a little bit of the blue, a little bit of the red together, and I'm going to mix them together. And see how that makes a sort of dark colour. Again, take off the surplus, hold my stencil down nice and firmly, and again stamp that colour through the centre. I'm not having to pick up a lot of paint, but there's only little holes here, so you might just have to push it in. I'm just going to take a little bit more blue, a little bit more red, mix them up, and push them through the holes. And again, quite nice if you just do a wee bit of dark bit just round the outside, so just round this side. So if we've missed anything, no, we can actually see it. So you get quite a nice sunflower doing it that way as well. To add extra to it, here's one I did earlier that is now dry. You would need to let your acrylic painting dry, but to add a little bit more depth, I've added some very fine black lines to the flowers, to give it a little bit more depth and movement to it. You can even do it, this one is the ink pad ones. This one's done on a little bit of cornflakes packet, so recycling again. So if we want to do something like a decoupage, that would really stand out, and that's nice and thick. So once I've done the design, I put a few little stones on it, I've cut round the edges, so that looks quite nice as well. So let's go on to our card design then. If I bring my card, just going to move everything out of the way. So I'm using the beige cream coloured card, and I will need to just stick it down to stop it from popping up while we're using the stencil. Now this is a good time then, if you have been practicing with your sketchbooks, you do really need to give your stencil a clean. And I want to go back to the design that I particularly liked with the ink pads. So I'm going to go to the yellow first, and I'm just going to do one central sunflower. So I'm going to rub that in nicely on the card. Give us a nice yellow. Rub that right into the edges. And then I'm going to move over to the orange. I should really be cleaning my brush, but these two colours going a little bit darker, I think we'll get away with it. Okay. Now I'm going to change my brush and go over to the darker one. I'm going to do the black. So we're stamping the black hard into those little seed heads. And then again, we're just going to go over the edges, like so. And then we're going to take off our stencil. There is our sunflower. Now I'm going to move the sunflower up so that the petals are just touching the outside of the card, and with the black I'm just going to rub gently, not on the sunflower that I can see, but on the one that I can't see. So just this bit here, I'm just going to go over with a bit of the dark. Okay, creating a shadow. And so this part of the stencil is going to be lined up against here. So the start of my yellow flower is where the seed head is. So we're going to boycott that bit. A little bit of black, and we're just going to build up a little bit of shadow around here. Okay, and there we have that. And a little bit here. Shadow. And a little bit, you guessed it, at the top. Okay, I should have really, I'm just going to put my stencil back on there. I should have really just done a bit seed headed there, a little bit. There. That's it. I really like that. It's a nice, simple design. Now to elaborate on that design, if we want to, is we can cut out. So here's a cardboard cutout that we had. So we could use a cardboard cutout and we can stick that down there. This is a painted one I did. If you prefer something, you could have something more three-dimensional. You could bring the petals to fold up so that they come out and stick out of your design. But either way, there is, I think I quite like that one. There is your sunflower card. Okay, hope you enjoyed that. Hope you're all going to have a little go, and we'll try something else with the stencils next week.